Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing another Qualifier Play-In Best of One event of Murders at Karlov Manor Sealed. Without further ado, let's just hop right into this and open up our sealed pool, see what we get to play with today. Alright, 8 rares here. Our best ones are probably Rakdos, pretty busted card. Triggers at the beginning of your end step, so if your opponent doesn't have instant speed removal for Rakdos, they're going to have to sacrifice 2 permanents or let you draw 2 cards. So insane card, even if they have removal in their hand. If they're tapped out from it or it's sorcery speed removal, you're still getting a 3-for-1. So really busted card. Massacre Girl as well is quite insane. 4 mana for a 4/4 menace that gives all your creatures wither, so they deal damage with -1/-1 counters. And whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, you draw a card. So anytime one of your creatures kills something via combat damage, it will be killing it with -1/-1 counters, making its toughness 0 or less, and then you will be drawing a card. So really incredible Rakdos rares here. So we are quite likely to want to go black-red, but we also have a black-green dual land with Underground Mortuary to try to go black, red, and green, go full Jund here, and 3 green rares. Assassin's Trophy for incredible removal, Sharp-Eyed Rookie, which can keep getting counters when you play bigger creatures, and give you clue tokens when you play bigger creatures, and an Axebane Ferox for just a beefy, aggressive threat at 4 mana. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rares, if we're lucky, all fit into a Jund deck together and can do some absurd things. Rakdos is also incredibly splashable, while Massacre Girl and Axebane Ferox are less so because they both require 2 colors, or 2 mana of their respective colors, and the Sharp-Eyed Rookie is a card you really want to play on turn 2 before you play anything else, so that's also a little less splashable. So if we're super lucky and we live in Magical Christmas Land and we've got plenty of good commons and uncommons in the right colors, we're probably doing black, green, splash, red for Rakdos. So see how it all pans out for us, though, as we check out the commons and uncommons. I am going to start off taking a peek at the colorless fixing, which is not great. There's a Gravestone Strider. That's basically it, because I don't really want to play Case of the Shattered Pact in my deck unless it is trying to go for the 5 color. 2 mana to basic land cycle at sorcery speed and do absolutely nothing else. It's just not quite worth it. As for the multicolored cards, there's some pretty good like Boros stuff here with the Fuss Bother and the Lightning Helix. Then there's some of those hybrid cards like the Warden we could play in green or white. Insidious Roots is a pretty tough build around. It's a pretty strict one. You need to have a lot of ways to work with it. So even in draft, you need to really go all in on it. And it's almost impossible to do that in sealed because you're unlikely to have opened up enough stuff to work with it. So probably not doing anything with Insidious Roots. But then again, we've got the Mortuary, the Trophy, and the Rakdos for the really good multicolored. So that's a peek at the multicolored and the colorless. Let's check out our colors individually now. Starting off with white, as always. White's actually pretty good. I mean, there's no removal here, but a great aggressive curve. Novice Inspector for a value play with that clue. Neighborhood Guardian finding so much extra damage with those +1/+1 triggers. The Market Watch Phantom finding a bunch of flying damage. Great little aggro build out of the white here. Again, no interaction. We need a secondary color that has ways to buff these creatures up with combat tricks or clear out blockers with removal spells, but this is a solid base to a more aggressive build if we wanted to do that. As for blue, blue is good at dirtling around with 3 copies of Out Cold and a Deduce here. Plenty of stuff for a clue sort of deck, so plenty of ways to get the Furtive Courier to be unblockable and keep getting its value. Then we have Bubble Smugglers, a fine finisher. Crime Stopper Sprites are solid at 3. Exit Specialist is a great card to flip up. But Conundrum, Jaded Analyst, not super great, nor is Behind the Mask. So this is kind of our blue pile, which is pretty decent, but there's no massive reason to be in the color. Yeah, like this is a solid blue tempo pile. We have a solid white aggro pile, but hopefully, again, we have decent black and green to be able to play all of our incredibly explosive cards. Starting off with black, we have excellent removal. We have 2 Extract a Confession and a Murder, which are both really efficient, really solid removal spells. Slice from the Shadows is an okay removal spell. It's way less efficient than Extract a Confession or Murder, but it is targeted and uncounterable, which is nice. So we might play like one copy of Slice. Presumed Dead is very cute with face down disguise cards, but probably not the kind of thing we're really going to want to play. So you play your face down disguise card, you use Presumed Dead, it dies, then you bring it back to the board face up as the gigantic creature. That's the joke there. But then you suspect it, so it has menace, but then it can't block, so it's not great in a more defensive, more grindy deck or anything. So, I mean, it's a cool card, but not the craziest thing ever. Leering Onlooker is great. 2 mana, 1/3 flyer is not particularly good, but when it does end up dying or trading at any point, you do get to exile and get 2 more flyers out of it from the graveyard, which is excellent. Agent is really solid. Massacre Girl is incredible. And then I actually have been pretty impressed by Persuasive Interrogators in our last deck at the top of the curve. Just a big blocker, just a giant creature for this format if your opponent isn't on green. That also gives you that clue token to be a 2-for-1 value play. So this is probably everything we're playing in our black, just these cards, but we are likely to be a 3-color deck here, black, green, and splash the red. So while there's not a ton of playables, they are all pretty high quality, and there's enough of them to be a secondary color. For red here, we're mainly looking for splashable stuff, which is immediately Torch the Witness and basically nothing else. Torch the Witness is an incredible removal spell in this format. Costs a decent bit of mana against the wrong creature, but usually for just a few mana, you can blow up your opponent's good evasive threat and get a clue token to draw a card later, which is absurd. It's a 2-for-1 removal spell, killing their creature and drawing a card. So really good card and really splashable because it's an X mana spell. It's a removal spell, so you can wait on it for a little bit later. And it only needs 1 red mana, so easily splashable alongside the Rakdos. So pretty excited about that. The rest of our red is just some decent aggro cards like Dronesmith, Person of Interest, that kind of stuff. But nothing super duper exciting there. So still happy to go black, green, splash, red. And here's the moment of truth. We're really wanting our green to have some great mana fixing. So we're looking for the basic land cyclers, the 6/5 tramples that basic land cycles. We're looking for the 2/2 that you can disguise and then flip up to grab whatever basic you need. Those are the premium cards. Whatever else we have in green is just gravy. If we have those, I'll be super happy. So let's see. Well, we've got the basic land cycler here with the Topiary Panther, so that's very nice. But we did not get any of the disguise cards that flip up and find whatever land we need. We do, to make up for it, have 2 Flourishing Bloomkin, which doesn't fix us for red, awkwardly, but because we have the green-black rare dual land, we have a Forest Swamp in our deck. So when we flip this up late in the game, we can actually surveil off of this and get a swamp, which is pretty spicy. I actually do like that Bloomkin quite a bit. Even if we are going to be a 3-color deck here, we're probably only playing like 2 mountains in here, so we'll just have more forests than anything to make sure this is still pretty beefy, and still good value being able to surveil and all that. So I like that. And yeah, we've just got great cards in general. Like Chalk Outline, very similarly to the green-black multicolored uncommon, just way too narrow for sealed to really pop off. And same with Slime Against Humanity. You need 1 million copies of this, and we don't have them. But our green's a really solid core color. It just doesn't have as much fixing as we wanted it to, but it still looks like a great color. We have great synergies with the Sharp-Eyed Rookie as well. Often this ends up being slightly awkward because there's so many just 2/2s in the format that sometimes you just don't really get to investigate with it. But with this deck, we have Sharp-Eyed Rookie, and then we have Bloomkins that we might just top deck later to play as 3/3s, 4/4s, 5/5s, something like that. We have Eavesdropper that we play as a 3/3, that's bigger than a Rookie. We have a 4/4 that we play that's bigger than it. We're going to have a Rakdos that's a 6/6. Here's a 6/5 to play that's bigger than it. We have plenty of cards bigger than 2 power to go with the Rookie, so this looks really decent. I'm not super sure on Airtight Alibi in case of the Trampled Garden, especially because we have excellent black removal taking up some of our non-land slots, as well as that really good red X mana removal spell. But I think both of these are probably okay. I just don't know if they make the cut over those. And then Color Among Us is great. It's 5 mana for a 4/4 and 2 1/1s. Just pick what you want to be the 4/4 and then only attack with the 4/4 in the future, basically. Very solid card. All right, well, yeah, the sealed pool certainly supports green, black, splash, red. It's not going to be the perfect mana base, but it's certainly worth it with such premium cards as Torch the Witness and Rakdos. I don't think any of the hybrid disguise cards that we have in the sealed pool were so good that we really want them in here. Like the Fairy Snoops would be fine. But that's it. Just the Snoops. I don't really want Uncastable Warden in here, I think. Just only a flipper. Oh, we do have the Gravestone Strider. We are going to play that at this point. So we only have to play like 2 mountains. Because then we have 2 mountains, Strider, and Panther. It's 4 red sources. I think that's where we want to be. Play another forest here. 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, 17 lands. This could be an 18 land deck for sure. We'll consider that, depending on what we end up cutting. Another peek at the colorless and multi-color. Maybe play Case of the Shattered Pact. Might be that desperate. Probably not with Strider and Panther already. But we didn't open up any lands. Well, we have the Mortuary. That's great. We didn't open up the Terramorphic Expanse or Evolving Wilds kind of land. None of the common mana-fixing lands. Yeah, another peek real quick through everything else. Yeah, there's nothing for us here, really. Yep, just go through, cut 6 cards at this point. And let's make sure that we sort by disguise cards at 3 mana. And the land cycler at 2. The X mana spell should actually be higher up on the curve, like around 4. All right, we're at 46 cards. We're at 18 creatures, 11 non-creatures. We can cut anywhere from 1 to like 5 or 6 creatures, honestly, for this kind of deck. Which means 1 to 5 or 6 non-creature cards. Just cut basically whatever we want with these kind of counts. So let's just look and find what's mediocre. Repeat Offender, I think, is a very mediocre mana sink, and it's very bad for the upfront mana value. I think the rest of our 2-drops are pretty good. I mean, this is not a great tipster deck, because we're not getting the extra counters, but it's still mana. Still getting to the 6 mana cards a little cheaper. Yeah, maybe I overvalue the tipster, but I think I will likely end up still running it in here. Because, like, this is another 6 mana play. This is another 5 mana play on curve, right? These are hitting 3 mana on curve and 5 mana on curve. This is 3 mana on curve and 6 mana on curve. So there is stuff to do for a lot of mana later. Strider's not great, but I think we do need it with the Rakdos Torch the Witness splash. I don't think it's possibly correct not to splash these. And there's no way we're not playing green as a main color with Ferox, Rookie, stuff like that. So yeah, there's no way we're not splashing here. And then 2 mana, love the Extract Confessions. Presumed Dead, quite narrow, quite likely a cut. Assassin's Trophy, really cheap interaction, but it does give your opponent value if you use it early. Which could be pretty bad, but I think it's still just worth it. I mean, you destroy any permanent. Super flexible too. Yeah, 3 mana. These are all just great disguise cards. Main deckable artifact enchantment removal, solid. Murder's great. Less so in draft, but super good in sealed. It is definitely slow enough for just 3 mana to destroy a creature. Draft, it's fine too. It's still pretty good. It's just tiny bit color restrictive with the double black. Airtight Alibi, really solid combat trick. But it is a lot of mana, that 3 mana there. I don't know, it is just like a +2/+2. There's a lot of random nonsense. I don't know, I'm not that into combat tricks here with all this great removal to run instead. And then kind of the same with Case of Trampled Guard. I mean, it can really buff the board, but it is just that. It is kind of a supplemental card. Like whatever you already have, it's just making that a bit better. It's not doing a ton by itself. Oh, we've got to cut something. We got to cut 6 cards here. So I'll put it on the sidelines. Again, it doesn't mean it's instantly going to get cut here, but I'm just making a pile of stuff that might not end up in the deck. 4 mana, Rot Farm Mortipede. This is almost definitely a cut, I imagine, because the only way that we have to have cards leave our graveyard is to collect evidence, and there's only 2 ways in this deck to collect evidence, just the 2 Extract a Confession. So let's just not. That's just a 4 mana 3/4. And then our other 4 mana cards are just so incredible that, yeah, we want to drop something there, and Massacre Girl, Locks It on Eavesdropper, and Axebane Ferox are all tremendously good cards, so we don't want to drop those. Agency Corner, quite slow. Rarely do you want to use that ability, especially in this kind of deck. We have like no tokens anyway. Yeah, no, that's just not good. And then 6 mana. I liked Interrogators a lot in our last sealed pool. I'm going to be running it again. Just a 5/6 that gives us a clue. Super good if you get to the point where you have 6 mana, and you do generally in sealed. I mean, not super good, but quite solid. And then Rakdos is obviously insane, so that's never getting cut. So 6 of these cards. How many cards did we set aside here? 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So just pick our favorite card, put it back in. If I cut all 4 of these creatures, we're down to 14. So I think I'm going to be putting a creature back in at that point to be at 15. Well, no, a Killer Among Us is our 15th creature. Killer Among Us is our 15th creature. Yeah, I'm really not a fan of any of these. I guess out of all of them, Agency Corner might be the best, because the Mortipedes are just not doing anything, and the Offender is offensively bad. I guess Corner at least works with Leering Onlookers Bat tokens. It's like the only thing that we find that's pretty expendable to sack to it. Yeah, whatever. We'll just go 15 creatures. Just cut all these. And then these 14 and a Killer Among Us. 1 of our non-creature cards gets to go back in. These are more narrow as instant speed combat tricks we really want to do during our opponent's turn, so I guess we try out the Case of the Trampled Garden, see how well that plays, or we just play an 18th land. I don't hate that, actually. We have 2 6-mana plays, we have a 6-mana flip, we have 2 5-mana flips. Here's another 6-mana play. We don't really have ways to prevent mana flood, but we have great things to spend our mana on at 3, 5, and 6 mana. Like, those are all pretty big numbers for us. It's a pretty big deal if we miss land 3. A pretty massive deal. But I kind of have a tipster. An 18th mana source, a basic land cycler. If we're stuck to... Could be an 18th lander. Yeah, if we want to put an 18th land, it's like cut one of these things. And I think that'd be fine. I think we're kind of fine either way. What are our sources at? So we're at 11 black cards, 11 green cards. And currently we're on an exact even split, which is fine. If we put another land in, it's probably another forest, since we're on an even split, but we have 1 green card that finds a black source if we need it. And we have the Bloomkins that want more forests in the deck, so we just put 1 more forest in the deck if we put another land in. I guess Slice from the Shadows is like another card that kind of likes the 18th land, because when they start playing 5/5s or 6/6s or something, this is insanely expensive removal. Yeah, I don't know whether or not we like really need the 18th land here, but I think it's fine to run it, so I'll just swap the Trampled Garden for another forest and call it a deck there, because honestly the odds, the statistics, the percentages don't change that drastically between a 17 and 18 lander, so probably not worth all this deliberation here. We'll just make a pick, and I will pick 18 lands. All right, here we have a look at the final deck list for today. We're on a Golgari value pile, splashing in a Rakdos because he is a busted magic card. So we've got just a bunch of great green and black plays on curve, some really good bombs in our color pair. Massacre Girl is going to give our whole board Wither, so that whenever we're killing our opponent's creatures, it's with -1/-1 counters, making their toughness less than 1, allowing us to draw additional cards. There's also Axebane Ferox, just a super aggressive card on curve for the mana cost, and we get great interaction in the color pair with Assassin's Trophy, Murder, a couple Extracted Confessions, and the super premium Torch the Witness. We've got some great top end here with, of course, the splashed in Rakdos, but we've also got these beefy Bloomkins to flip, which should be right around 4/4s or 5/5s when we flip them. Just draw a couple for us naturally throughout the game, then they pull 2 more out of the deck, one of which could be our Underground Mortuary. Great rare to open up when you're trying to play green and black, and you have a way to tutor out forests. We've also got the Vengeful Creeper to flip up, just a beefy 5/5 that's main deckable artifact and enchantment removal. And of course, Persuasive Interrogators and Topiary Panther for beefy creatures. So really solid stuff going on here overall. Pretty excited to see how it does. So without further ado, let's head into the gameplay. Here we are on the play for game number 1, and this is a weird one because it's real slow, but we're on the play, so I think it's fine. Plus, sealed is generally much less aggressive than draft. Really hard for them to end up with the dream unicorn into dog walker kind of deck. So, I mean, Bloomkin for the flip turn 6 is gonna be pretty beautiful. Well, now I've got a turn 2 play, and I'm just gonna slam down the agent here. And Killer Among Us is very strong, a 4/4 and 2 1/1s, so it might be worth playing that instead of flipping Bloomkin later. We'll see. It's going to be hard to convince me not to just flip Bloomkin, because we'll get the Surveil and all the mana in the world, which is nice. But we'll see. We'll see. Our opponent starts with a turn 2 Seasoned Consultant, which is actually quite an annoying stat line. A 1/3 gets to attack into my 1/1 very freely, or my 2/2, because it'll just bounce off of it. But I guess since I have both, I could declare the double block if they have nothing. But I also don't get to attack into them. Alright, well now I guess I'm not flipping my Disguise card, because we have naturally drawn all the lands we need to just get to Rakdos, so we'll just go Killer Among Us into Rakdos here. Our opponent did take a mulligan into a 2-land hand, so I'm quite unlikely to ever want to cast this Assassin's Trophy. You know what? If they block, I'll flip here. Because then we just kill the Consultant for free. It's probably worth not playing a Killer Among Us right now, so I'll do it. Mortuary Forest. Mortuary onto the field to Surveil. Since I can play the Forest untapped. Hit a 6/5? Okay. Well, this is a terrible game for our opponent. They were stuck on 2 mana for several turns, and now we're just going to play a Rakdos into a 6/5 Trample into a 4/4 and 2 1/1s. I cannot imagine how they win here, especially because I can just now replay a Bloomkin and flip it up turn 7 if I want to. They only have 2 mana. I'm just going to play Rakdos and see if they have 2 mana removal for it. Because, like, even if they do, I'm drawing 2 cards immediately. And there's not a lot of 2 mana removal. Yeah, this game is functionally over. They still haven't hit lands. This is a pretty sad way to start it, but is what it is. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We don't have Bloomkin mana yet. Here's a 6/5. The first board wipe available is 4 mana, so we dump everything to the board, and they're dead before they can board wipe. And even if they can board wipe, we're going to have 7 cards in hand, even if I keep playing like 2 spells a turn. So here we go. This should be lethal. And it is not much of a game of Magic to start it off, but I guess we get a free victory for some gems. Here we are now for game number 2. Probably have to land cycle for a mountain, and then we use Torch the Witness on their best aggressive threats. This is a fine start. Not doing anything really big proactively. It's just a 3 mana 2/2. But once we get 5 mana, we are off to the races with a Killer Among Us. Okay, opponent starts Swamp into the Gorehound. Yeah, we are gonna Panther for the mountain here, despite already having 4 lands. We just need a red source. Playing against a blue-black with Prophet's Eidetic Memory here. Draw a card. Beginning of combat, if they've drawn more than 1 card, they put +1/+1 counters onto their creatures. So as they start investigating, they go crazy. And that already makes their Gorehound a 2/2 menace. So probably just torch that next turn, actually. 2/2 menace is kind of a big deal. A little difficult to block here until we can cast a Killer Among Us. We definitely want to flip up a Vengeful Creeper to kill that. So let's kill that and get our clue. Make me discard 2. Alright, well that gets rid of some lands then, and we're gonna take a little longer to get to Creeper. I think I ditched 2 lands because I'll still be able to Killer Among Us if I hit a land in the next 2 draw steps. I draw 1 here, 1 from the clue. Actually, in the next 3 draws, if I hit 1 land, I can still Killer Among Us. I guess I don't do it on curve anymore because I'm playing Creeper next turn. And then if I have to spend mana on the clue after this, it's going to be awkward. It's still got to just be lands here, though. I'm just trying to remember if I have double black or double green cards in the deck. I have 2 double black cards and 1 double green card. So I should keep the swamp so I have double black if I hit Massacre Girl or Murder. Well, that's awkward. I mean, it means I get to play a Killer Among Us next turn, but now I have 3 swamps and 1 forest. If I could only see the top card of my library, I would have discarded a little better there. Deduce. Draw a card and investigate. And they're going to crack the clue. Happy to have them drawing cards without creatures on board to trigger the Eidetic Memory. I am 1 mana away from flipping up the Creeper. I imagine a 4/4 and 2 1/1s is slightly better than a 4/4 Menace when they have an empty board. And if any of you watching this video are ever playing against me and I play Killer Among Us, it was the Merfolk. The Merfolk was the killer. Extract the Confession. Make me sack the Creeper. That's pretty sad. I am not a fan of that. Okay, Massacre Whirl and hold up the clue mana, do it in their end step because they're playing main deck Mind Rot. So they may have more ways to make me discard. Ooh, baby! That's the killer! Well, that feels nice. That doesn't happen super often. It happens 1 out of every 3 times. I guess the awkward part is now I drew a card, so if they have the Mind Rot, goodbye Axebane Ferox. But also if they Mind Rot me here instead of dealing with my board, they're taking 10 damage next turn, so we're still fine. Alright, they're not Mind Rotting me. Let's end step crack the clue. They're blue-black. There's not a board wipe there. They could be splashing for 1, though. But I imagine I still hit for a billion bajillion here. As the line. Put them to 2 life. I'll hold on to the Bloomkin, though. I'll play slightly around a board wipe. Alright. Still going to be absolute destruction there. And we are now 2-0 heading into game number 3. Both of our first couple opponents, though, had to take some mulligans into less than ideal hands. Here we are for game 3. Not a fantastic start, but we deal with whatever our opponent's start is, so I imagine that we keep. And Panther with Confession is pretty sweet to guarantee the evidence in graveyard to make sure that they're not just sacking a 1/1 token or something. Gonna play a cat. Okay, they're gonna play a cat, make it a 2/2 menace. Ooh, if we make it to late game, we are so winning with Massacre Girl Worm and Massacre Girl Worm. Uh-oh. I have created an abomination. I'm so used to Massacre Worm that I have polymerized what should never be fused. No. With Massacre Girl into Rakdos, we've got the end game on lock, so I'm probably going to use this extract very aggressively. Regardless, I need to land cycle first still. Right now. I think. Cool. Well. Stopping 2 damage either way, and if I collect evidence here, it doesn't change anything, so we don't collect evidence. I definitely don't want Assassin's Trophy right now. I don't want to give my opponent a land this early in the game. This is a late game removal spell. Card would be absolutely insane if you could blow up your own card. Karlov Watchdog. Well, that's... I'm perfectly cool with Assassin's Trophying, but now I can also Eavesdropper and trade into it if they don't convenient target it. If they do convenient target it, I can still trade into the face down and buy some time. I can't imagine just playing Massacre Girl Worm. I did it again! What is wrong with me? I can't imagine playing Massacre Girl as better right now than Eavesdropping when she's also mainly just going to trade. And if they have removal, just want the Eavesdropper. You know what? No, Rakdos is a big enough win condition. We should probably actually just play the bigger blocker, even if it's only slightly bigger. That means it can't just be galvanized here for 3 damage. For the red removal spell. Oh my god. Wow, they can suspect my creatures with that? Alright, well, we're Mega Bombed. I mean, what am I gonna do? I can't unsuspect my creature. God dang, alright, well. And that just ends this game, right? 5 mana. Good grief. We are down to 11. I can play a Strider and hold up Assassin's Trophy, I suppose. When it attacks, they get to exile Massacre World now? Or when it attacks, they get to massacre my Massacre Girl. Let's just say that. I'm gonna no longer say this card's name. It's a bad omen. Alright, I have to just Assassin's Trophy that. So I need 2 mana up here. Because, well, she's not doing any blocking anyway. This is still going to hit me for 4. Exile one of my cards, and then just keep shutting off my blockers. Which is... not good. Here we go with the free ramp for our opponent. They have 6 mana up now. If I don't kill one of their creatures this turn, the Watchdog triggers and gives the whole board +1/+1, which is mega extra super bad. My Strider's about to get killed by a Dog Walker, but the alternative is to take 6 and go to 5. Yeah, and it still trades, so this is still worth it. And then I get to exile the convenient target from their grave, actually. It costs only 1 mana to do that, right? Oh, and I draw a card? Let's go. Actually popping off. Our opponent's just gonna have all in the job or something and we're dead. Oh, it takes 2 to exile something. Shoot. Yeah, that's not fitting into the curve then. All I can do is play a single blocker now. And that's it. So we play Rakdos. And die. Because Watchdog buffs the board. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I block the 4, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I die because they convenient target any of these 3 cards and I'm dead. Well, we did try. I guess because I'm dead to convenient target, the only way to not die on board is to play an eavesdropper and exile convenient target from their grave if they try to pick it up. If they have a 7th land, they still get there. Because then they try, I exile it, they try again, and then they play a land and play it for only 1 mana. So I have to tap out and exile it right now, then trade eavesdropper into this, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this has to be nothing. It has to be literally nothing. Otherwise, again, I'm tapping out for Rakdos. I'm drawing 2 with no mana up. I'm blocking that and taking all this damage. And they can convenient target for just dead on board. So this is all we have, and it dies to literally anything, but it doesn't die on board like playing Rakdos does. All right, that'll do it. Well, turns out busted Boros aggro curve outs can happen in Sealed too. Badly. 2-1 it'll be heading to game 4. Here we are on the play for game 4. We are 2-1 right now. We're only 1 loss from getting knocked out of contention. But I feel like our deck is very good and very fun, so hopefully we can find another few wins and play some more games with it. Alright, it's going to be slightly hard to win against Novice Inspector, the highest win rate common in the entire format still, I think. Just a really efficient card. 1 mana, 1/2, plus you draw a card. It is not worth removing, though, with anything. But yeah, just instantly sets you up for some great card advantage right in the early game. Fills out your mana curve really well. If you've got nothing else to do turn 2, you just sack the clue, get that card. Just a beautiful card. Drafted a ton of that day 1, and then nobody ever passed it again, so I haven't played a Novice Inspector in a little while. Haven't been playing white in the Sealed, and have not been getting past them in draft at all. Oh, it's another very good value play. Our opponent is up 2 cards now, no matter what. Because that's a draw 2, discard 1, so they are up a card from the draw ability on it. Because we spend removal on that, and they've already drawn a card from it, so it's bad for me. I'm just going to keep committing to the board right now. Especially because my removal plays really well. That is an insane block from my opponent. Well, that's rough. Obviously, the trade isn't great for us because it was going to be a 5/5 later potentially, but I didn't think there was any universe they would block just a random disguise card with a 2/2 flying vigilance. Because this could have just been the 2/2 that grabs me a land out of my deck, and I don't need the land anymore. That's the most popular green disguise card. I mean, I think it was the right play to do it, because my opponent was really unlikely to block there. They did block there, so sometimes you get got. And it's not even like getting got that much, because we got to kill their flyer before it ever hit us. It's still a fine use of the Vengeful Creeper, because we still wouldn't have the mana to flip it by now anyway. And then when we do, we're just going to play Interrogators for 6, and we would have done that, I think, even if we had Creepers still around. So it's all playing out fine. I was mainly just completely shocked. I was not expecting that at all. In a bad way. What is that? Face down. Exit Specialist? Well, that was a good hit. Uh, 2/2 and 1/2 block this. I only kill a 2/2. Yeah, we don't attack here. I'm not gonna use Slice from Shadows as a combat trick. I'm gonna wait till I can sack this clue and get another 4/4 vigilant attack in. All right, they are splashing red here, I believe, because they played multiple blue spells. Yeah. Red is probably the splash. Torch the Witness the Interiors. Yeah, that's so good. With the double damage, they can, for 5 mana, they can kill a 6 toughness card and still get the clue. Well, we got a clue from our card as well, so it's fine. That's an even trade. More Confessions, those are really bad right now. I mean, I can kill their 2/2 token. That's very whatever. All right, they're down to 12. But I don't have any more threats right now. I'm drawing like all my removal, which is pretty awkward in this board state. Just gonna keep slicing. I'm gonna keep slicing face downs. Well, that was a really good hit. Ooh, and that was a really good draw. Let's go. How many more clue tokens do I got in this deck? I have Sharp-Eyed Rookie. There's only... Oh, there's Torch the Witness as well. There's 2 potential ways to make clues, and they're not the most likely out of these 24 cards. I mean, I have no more instant speed removal, so Eavesdropper just trades into a 2/2 if I send it in. Yeah, let's just not. Let's just not. I'm not going to play around any discard spells for my opponent. They're going to escape tunnel for a swamp into the Mind Rot. They are going to escape tunnel into a forest. Wow, did they manage to build the 5-color sealed deck? That would be wild. I have not gotten nearly that much fixing lately. Ooh, Buried in the Garden's really good for a splashy deck like this. Exile our creature and get whatever mana they need. Oh, and Hide in Plain Sight. That card is broken. That was the best rare in our last sealed pool. Card was incredible. I mean, just 4 mana for 2 2/2s is already quite good, but you can just pick your best creatures and then flip them up later as a really good draw too. Well, starting to get to the point where if we don't just like draw into Rakdos or something, we're going to lose. Rakdos or Massacre Girlworm. They'll eat my brain. How? What is going on with my speeches? My talk patterns are befuddled. Frickin' Massacre Girlworm every time. Alright, so they hit a Gardener. Get another green source, so they're not 5-color. Actually, they might be. They actually have black off of the Buried in the Garden here. Two more threats, one of which is the Hedge Whisperer, which is like infinite 5/5 lands. Eesh. Yeah, we need to draw something insane right now. They already have great attacks with the Inside Source ability. Okay, that is a very good start to the top decks, because we have exactly enough mana to flip this thing and make it less likely to flood out here. Well, they're going to know exactly what's going on here, but I need to turn this into a 4/4. Yeah, even if it just trades into 2/2/2s, so much better than blocking as a 1/1. Okay, that's really good. They're gonna let me kill the ward card? I guess because it's not a detective. Just a Market Watch Phantom? Oh, it was a detective. Yeah, you can flip that up still. Alright, well. Ooh, uh-oh. Escape Tunnel is actually really terrifying with a cloaked card out there. This could be any massive creature, and they can make it unblockable and then flip it. They could also make a 2/2 detective unblockable and then buff it with Inside Source and hit for 5. That would be quite bad for me too. Let's start popping Extract a Confession on their lands, I guess. Start making 5/5s with Hedge Whisperer. Our forest thingy is going to be a 5/5 on blocks, which is not big enough to deal with a 5/5 land. Okay, they haven't held up the mana to make a 5/5 land anyway. So I can make our forest thingy a 6/6 after I play my land for next turn. Okay, so they are not going to attack. I think I still need to do this because we get to thin 2 lands out of our deck and surveil 1 by doing this. So this is definitely worth it. Surveil a forest out of here. Sure, it'd make it a 7/7 eventually, but I need cards like right now. Tunnel Tipster doesn't really count as a card. Alright, well, let's kill the 6/5 and make a 6/6 of our own, and now we've got a 6/6 to block their 5/5s. Seems reasonable. Six mana value right there. Don't think I can really attack in. $18 cards left. 2 of those are basically insta-wins, Massacre Girl or God, what is the other one? Ooh, Culvert Ambusher. Goodbye Human, I guess? Or Eavesdropper or something? Tipster? Yeah, Tipster's the best target. Because it could get bigger later, and it's small enough to just die. I guess Eavesdropper works too. Are they gonna like kill Bloomkin pre-combat? Yes. Oh, and make the Ambusher 6 power. That's a super bad turn for me. Yeah, now I need to insta draw my Massacre Girl or my Rakdos. Now. I've needed to draw them for a while. Now I need to like immediately draw them. Oh. This is not as bad for me as just attacking with Ambusher would have been, I think. That's fine. Actually. Oh, now I get to torch the Hedge Whisperer? That is actually massive. Oh my god. I mean, it's not... I'm not going to say it's better than drawing Rakdos or Massacre Girl, but this should have been on the list of, like, game-winning draws. Because I can kill both their big creatures, and then it's a 1/1 and a 2/2 versus 3 1/1s. Like, that has evened things out, and the clue token evens out our cards in hand as well. Like, we were behind, and now we're even. Insane draw. Where's a 6 mana? Do I have a 6 mana in here? Yes, no, that's 5. Alright, whatever, 5 plus 1. Freaking math. Mathic the Gathering. Okay, swamp changes nothing. Alright, they found a disguise card. It's not horrible. Start poking them in the sky a tiny bit, I guess. And if the disguise card is a chunky threat, I can chump block it and then poke for 2 a turn in the sky, which is even better. Okay, I'm very happy to lose my onlooker. Let's see what's going on with that that morph card here. Yeah, I'm happy to hit for 2 a turn in the sky now instead of just 1. Still don't get to see what's going on with the morph. Strange. Pretty suspicious, I think. But maybe just something in my eye? Well, double block, I guess. Maybe it is just like a 3/3 or a 5/5 or something, but they don't want to flip it unless they get to kill 2 of my creatures. I mean, this possibly be. They are on green, which has beef. Maybe it's just Nervous Gardener? Most of what I could think of that would be beefy, they would have wanted to just flip, I think. This might be just a complete blowout, we'll see. It is not really. It's not great, but it's not a complete blowout. They're hitting for 1, 2, 3, 4 a turn. Put them to 8, I go to 10, they go to 6, I go to 6, they go to 4, I go to 2. I die before them if I draw absolutely nothing. God, do I have to trade the bats into this 2/2 and just go full top deck war? I mean, the math doesn't line up well for our race. If I draw nothing, I lose. It's around full top deck war here. We're probably slightly more likely to hit non-lands. I don't know, they hit a lot of lands too. 8, 9, 10, 11. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Looks like we're both on 13, honestly. Well, a 1/3 beats a 1/1, I guess. They do mill out before me right now. That is actually worth noting. Blue-red. Oh, just another face down. Probably bad. Well, there goes the last card in their hand, which is probably just a land, but whatever. It is just a forest. Now I can threaten to double block the face down if it isn't big enough. What do I have left on my deck? I still have Massacre Girl and Axebane Ferox and Rakdos. I have literally all 3 bombs in these 11 cards. Oh, feels like I win the average top deck war if this ward card is not incredible. If this disguise card is not incredible, I should say. Is this the bait? Is this the sit here and think for a long time to be like, should I send my 2/2 into a 1/3 and a 1/1? But secretly it was like a 5/5 the whole time? Because if they went for the insta attack, it's like, okay, this thing's big and it's just going to eat my board. Oh, they thought for a long time. Good bait. Good bait, opponent. Comment right now. Do I block? Would you block? They've got a lot of white in there too. This could just be a Nervous Gardener. It could just be a Dog Walker. It could be a 3/1 or a 2/2. I think I just hedge my bets and block with a 1/3. Then if it is something super massive, I only lose one creature. Oh my god, it is something super massive. And if it's just like a 2/2 or a 3/1 or something, I just stop all the damage anyway. Well, I mean, take 2 a turn now? Buys me time. There's no way that they're going to draw a really good threat and play it pre-combat, so we might as well just murder before they draw, just in case they have some hexproof trick. Because if they draw something that's better for me to murder, I'm still just going to have to kill this when it declares an attack to preserve my life total. And then they'll play it main phase 2 and I'll still be sad and dead. Oh, nuts. That is really good against 1/1 removal and super good in a top deck war. 3/1/1 flyers and Surveil 2. Back on team Rakdos literally right now or bust. Not like this, come on. Please not like this. It's 5 damage a turn now. Three guaranteed damage a turn. Need to soak up and buy some time, because now even if I hit Rakdos, if I don't block here, I go to 2. We found our first bomb in the bottom 9 cards. Let's go. Let's go. But now I'm already down to 4 on the crackback. Okay. Okay, Arena, it's one of those days. Sure, you got me. 2 and 2 it is. Incredibly disappointing run for this deck. I think this was the best deck we had so far. At least I had a lot of fun with these qualifier play-in events. I had enough fun that I actually played an extra run. I was supposed to go to bed by now, but I really had fun with the first 2, so I figured, you know what? Let's give it a third shot. We had a great deck. Really enjoyed this build. I think we built it out, played it about as well as we could, but we just gotta win those top deck wars. You only get 2 losses in these qualifier play-ins, and I think there's definitely nothing we could have done about the second loss. Maybe there was some way to play more defensively in the first game that I just didn't see or I don't remember. But I don't think we could have survived that. Just the Nutso Boros aggro curve destroys us for our first loss, and then really just lose the top deck war. Not much to say other than that about the final loss. All right, well, another look at the deck. I think the deck itself was very, very solid. It was a fun build. Everything worked together well. Just doesn't manage to survive the super aggressive curve. And the second loss, that's just a game of variance either way for any deck when you find yourself in the board stall top deck war kind of matchup. Sad way to end it. Would have liked to get a few more games in with this banger deck, but still a nice average 50-50 run here and a decent amount of gems for our play-in points. But as I said before, I've still got 40 play-in points here waiting for the future. So we will be back again with the Qualifier Play-In Best of 3 event next weekend. So next Saturday and Sunday, we'll be using the rest of our play-in points, getting even more gyms, and maybe seeing if we can't compete for that qualifier weekend entry. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video and you're interested in seeing more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.